Hi everybody, Charles here. Welcome to Backroads Living. In today's video we're going to be discussing the Insurrection Act and the difference between it and martial law. Hang in there, we'll get right on into it. The Insurrection Act is something that many people are asking the President of the United States to invoke right now. At one point, if you remember, back around December the 6th, there were many people who were asking him to invoke the martial law. And that's a very serious thing to have martial law implemented in the United States of America or in any country, because martial law is a very powerful thing in the hands of people who might not use it in the correct way. And we've seen that in many foreign countries. We've seen foreign leaders implement martial law in their countries in order to take over the country and to disarm their citizens, to take away their citizens' rights, and to just oppress them in many ways. We've seen that many times, and it's a very strong, a very powerful thing to do, because it revokes all the constitutions of any country, just like here in the United States. And I went over this pretty much in depth on December the 6th. If you want to go back and watch that, if martial law was implemented here in the United States, you would lose your civil rights, things such as your right to stand before your peers, for a trial. You'd lose any kind of rights. The military could come in and do search and seizures and take anything they deemed necessary to take, whether it was weapons or food or anything that you had. They could take over your homes and use them for military bases, your properties, whatever they wanted to do under martial law. So that's a pretty big thing. But that's not what they're asking for in this, and that's not what's included in this. The Insurrection Act is something that they've been asked the President to do simply because they feel like that there's been unfair processes take place in this past election, and because that the Supreme Court at this point has decided to not get involved in it. So there's people like sitting governors, and there are Congress people, there's senators, there's mayors, there's all kinds of people, lawyers, attorneys, that are trying to encourage him. So, what are you going to do in that emergency? Sometimes you don't have time to call the police. In those instances, you have to take matters into your own hands. Show that intruder your stunning lipstick. And send him home crying to his mama. To get these stunning lipsticks and our flashlight stun weapons, hop on over to backroadslivingfinds.com. You might want to get them before they get gone. To invoke the Insurrection Act. And basically what this does, well, first let's look at it just a second here, some things I've got wrote down. Insurrection refers to an act or instance of revolting against civil authority or an established government. It is a violent revolt against an oppressive authority. Insurrection is different from riots and offenses connected with mob violence. In insurrection, there is an organized or armed uprising against authority or operations of government, whereas riots and offenses connected with mob violence are simply unlawful acts in disturbance of the peace which do not threaten the stability of the government or the existence of political society. That's the difference between mob rioting and the insurrection. So here is a case of insurrection, so we'll understand it fully, what insurrection is. This explains it as well as I could find anywhere. Insurrection means a violent uprising by a group or movement acting for the specific purpose of overthrowing the constituted government and seizing its powers. An insurrection occurs where a movement acts to overthrow the constituted government and to take possession of its inherent powers. And there are people that feel like that has taken place in this past election. Now, whether I think it's so or not, I'm just not saying, because I don't want to take sides here on YouTube at this point. I'm just trying to give information and definitions. That's all I'm doing, is giving definitions of insurrection and what it entails and why they're asking the president to invoke the Insurrection Act. So there are a couple of things that could be done. In this thing, there's a thing called Posse Comitatus Act, and it works hand in hand with the Insurrection Act. But this other one has to have approval of Congress in order to be enacted, simply because it puts the military in a different form on American soil. But the Insurrection Act does not require the Congress to do that. The president can do that on his own without a congressional approval. And whether he will do that is yet to be seen. And what the Insurrection Act does is it brings up the National Guard and the military, and it federalizes them just like federal marshals. It gives them federal powers to assist law enforcement in states and cities and counties to perform their duties. And with them being federalized, they would have the power of the federal government to seize and detain, arrest, imprison, do all the things that the regular law officials have the power to do. It just adds more feet on the ground and more power to the states, counties, and cities to enforce the law that they feel like that they need to enforce. And that's what these folks are asking the president to do in order to I'm sure, to seize and to hold certain apparatuses that they feel necessary to prove their claims. So, that being said, if you have any other questions or concerns or comments, be sure and put them in the comment section below. And as always, we appreciate you. And if you enjoyed our video, we'd ask that you subscribe if you're not a subscriber already. And we ask that you'd like our video. Give us a thumbs up. We appreciate that. If you'd like to be notified of upcoming videos as we post them, hit that bell icon when you subscribe and you'll be notified of those. So, thank you guys again, and we pray that the Lord watch over and keep you, and that you look to Him in all your ways and for all your doings. And until the next time, we'll see you in the next video.